We do thank you so much for taking this time to join us live. We are at the United States Embassy of Harare, where we are speaking to quite a number of delegates that are here speaking on the issue of sanctions. We have a multitude as far as the numbers are concerned. And with us here, we have got Abigail Mupambi, one of our political scientists and also a political activist, speaking to this event. Abigail, thank you so much for having us live right here.
Thank you for having me.
Right, great. You are part of the crowd that is here today. Your quick reflection on what is going on here and the cause of us being here.
Multitudes are gathered here, right here at the U.S. Embassy in Harare. I'm part of the people, and the message is clear here. The people of Zimbabwe have finally felt the pinch of these so-called targeted sanctions. It is clear that the target has become the people, the citizens themselves. And the citizens are here to register their voice and displeasure with the effects of the illegal sanctions. Let me be technical and explain why we say these sanctions are illegal. They were declared on Zimbabwe outside the parameters of the UN Charter. That then allows the UN Security Council to have a consensus resolution if a member state has to have a sanction declared upon it. But because the US, being the US, is bully all over the world, check with Cuba, check with Venezuela, check world over, today even in Russia, how they interfere with the sovereign of other independent states. This is why we are here today. We realized that as the citizens now, they are now feeling it. We used, even as myself, being from the opposition trenches, we used to celebrate sanctions.
They've maintained that the Zidera list is a certain number or a targeted sanction, should I say, specific people, specific industries, and not a wholesome approach as far as you have said. What is your response to us?
You cannot expect people who are educated, even who have a basic understanding, to believe that sanctions that are closing up credit lines for the whole industry are going to affect an individual. Sanctions that have defied the odds of people to actually manage to freely trade. And at the end of the day, even the national fiscus itself is affected. How would you want right on earth to make people believe that only people on the list? Are the people on the list only affected when there's no revenue that is flowing into the national fiscus, and finally no medication in the hospitals? Are we talking about the people on the list? Today, how many companies have been closed? The Standard Chartered Bank was punished for transactions for individuals. They were not on the list. So the list of all these effects is endless. Anyway, I think this goes back to the modus operandi, why this Zidera was written. It is not the handwriting of the Americans first that wrote this. It was a shenanigan that happened between our local opposition, which personally I have been coming from. It was the shenanigan of power-hungry opposition leaders, our brothers and sisters, who actually went a step further because of this love for money.
But we have seen a revision, or should I say a revised list as far as the Zidera is concerned. And just a few weeks back, we also saw some individuals being removed off this list. And the Zidera is a clear document with clear demands that says if you stop issues of human rights abuse and constitutionalism.
What is clear about imposing sanctions outside the UN Charter? What is clear? This is outside the legality of the UN Charter. Then what is clear with that document? There is nothing clear about an imposition that happened outside the parameters of the UN Charter. We are an independent state sovereignty, with our own sovereignty. So we may not need someone to lecture us on democracy and the rule of law. When the US itself, here we are today, they defied the odds and the parameters of the United Nations Charter that binds actually.
I'm very clear to that issue that the sanctions could have been done outside the United Nations blessing.
Yes.
Yeah, but I'm saying that let's look at the parameters of Zidera itself. Zidera also says that if A, B, and C is done, specifically the issues that I've been speaking about, constitutionalism, human rights abuse, corruption, and selective application of the law, if these things are withdrawn, the sanctions are also going to be withdrawn against Zimbabwe. And we have seen some members also being withdrawn. Why is it not simply easy for a nation like Zimbabwe to simply also adhere or give it to a test, because we've been through this land for a long time?
What you must realize is that Zimbabwe is no longer a colony of any country. We are sovereign. We are not going to be pushed to try and satisfy the US. The US is independent. We are independent. We don't report to the US. That has to be clear.
But we are talking about the removal of sanctions here. They are also putting demands. Why is it so difficult for us to simply adhere to those ones?
These are demands on behalf of the opposition, whom they want to become the puppet and front their agendas.
Are there not also demands to remove them? If we're serious about them being removed, why is it so difficult for us to adhere?
We are actually demanding the US to respect the UN Charter and the sovereignty of our country. We have got nothing to discuss about the UN as long as they don't respect the rule of law. They have to respect the rule of law, just like us. We respect the rule of law.
Are we respecting our local rule of law?
We are.
Issues of constitutional selective application of the law, where we've seen some politicians being persecuted, have been highlighted. Human rights abuses.
Okay.
All this is why are we not simply adhering to some of these issues?
Okay. Go to the US. Are they not having such issues?
Two wrongs don't make it right. Let's speak about Zimbabwe. Why are we not simply?
We are going to make.
We have a constitution that protects
We are going to make
things.
things in Zimbabwe correct for our sake, not for the sake of the US.
I agree.
Yes, we are going.
Why
to
are we
make
not? Why are we
things
not
correct.
doing that?
We are doing that. Look at what happened. A few years ago, we used to have IFA and POSA. Today, there is now a repeal of such. People, law-making process and amendments is not enough.
Selective application of the law, human rights abuse, and constitutionalism. These things that are still rife in our country, are they not?
You are talking about unconstitutionalism. One thing that you forget is that the opposition, together with the ruling party, agreed on a constitution that we have today.
Yes.
And at some point, the opposition politicians you are trying to front and defend now, they were in parliament.
Who is trying to front and defend them?
Look
Who
here.
is yourself?
Yourself as the journalist moving out of line.
We are questioning. Our job is to question matters. You're supposed to answer the matters.
You don't lead a narrative of other people. You are not supposed to be biased.
We are questioning. We are questioning issues.
Continue to question without bias.
There's no bias. Answer the question without critiquing the question. Yeah.
Of course.
Thank you.
I am talking about the rule of law question.
Right.
I am saying there is nothing wrong. Every country has got frameworks right now of dealing with issues of the rule of law. I am a human rights advocate myself. There are issues I am pushing for, even as a human rights. I'm pushing about alignment of the laws. We are talking about electoral reforms. Every country is actually doing the same. There's nothing wrong with that. But what we are here for gathered today, don't take us out of the subject. What we are here gathered
because
for
of the rains.
To deal.
Our country short because of the rains. One last question. You are here enjoying a constitutional right to gather. You are here enjoying a constitutional right to demonstrate. We have seen all opposition political parties being incarcerated for months, if not almost a year, for only exercising a constitutional right to gather here. But we are not seeing the same being done to you. Is this not a clear example of selective application of the law? Because if this was an opposition gathering, they were going to be butchered and beaten apart, where they're not going to be.
I was leading an observer mission ahead of the March 26th by-election. I led that observer mission. There were 10 major rallies which we actually zoomed. One of them had erupted into a violence. It was in Kwekwe. But 9 of them, people gathered freely. You know what? Don't try to narrow this thing to specific individuals. In particular, let me unpack the issue of Job Scholar. Job Scholar is out there because he had bail conditions which he did not respect. You chose to selectively pick Job Scholar. I chose to select him on your behalf. Anyway, I chose to select him on your behalf. I am saying...
In 1 minute.
Of course. Yeah. I am saying no one is above the law.
So Job Scholar is incarcerated because he violated his bail conditions?
Yes, he violated his bail conditions.
That's why he's still being arrested.
Right. No, not still being arrested. Even myself, if I do the same, I must be arrested. This is the rule
Job
of
Scholar
law.
and 16 other people who have never been arrested in their whole entire life.
Yes.
What violation have they done? What bail conditions have they violated?
I am following with keen the issue of Job Scholar. Yes, it's privy for anyone, it's open for anyone to introspect each and every case. While this, of course, we must look into each and every case differently. Here I chose on your behalf to talk of Job Scholar.
I love the way you choose on my behalf, but it's interesting.
Yes. But anyway, we are saying as a people, we have a lot that unites us. Opposition or ruling party. I'm speaking as an independent human rights defender, a political analyst, and say, for sanctions being a pain, everyone knows that sanction is a pain. There can be no justification for supporting a pain to your brother, whether your brother is wrong or right. But we cannot use poison to deal with the disputes that we have in a family. Zimbabwe is one family, one people. We need to find each other.
Thank you.